News with Matt Grillo.
Good evening. If you haven't filled up your gas tank yet, now is the time. After escalation in the Middle East, analysts are predicting prices will hit $2 per liter this week. And it's not just car travel that's expected to take a hit. Kelly Gregg reports.
At Trudeau Airport, travelers are walking a fine line between spending time on vacation and spending on tickets.
This can be expensive, we realize that, but a person's got to do what a person's got to do, right? When you get somewhere, you got to go.
The escalation of attacks around vital shipping channels in the Strait of Hormuz comes with a rise in the cost of gas and jet fuel.
You had, 40, 50 cent increases in liters. Gas for automobile, the price of aviation fuel has doubled.
On certain tickets, Porter Airlines has already put in a fuel surcharge of $40, telling CTV fuel represents the highest cost of airline operations, and the charge is, quote, expected to be temporary.
They always have a habit of kind of rolling into the regular fare somehow, some way. It's very rare I've seen those fuel surcharges really disappear.
Some travelers with short hops say next time they'll drive.
But I have a hybrid.
But it's not much better on the ground. Around Montreal Sunday afternoon, prices were already at $1.93.
This is the week. Get prepared because we are probably going to go over the $2 liter mark in the next 24 to 48 hours.
If you think prices are bad now, well, just wait. On April 15th, stations across Canada will switch from a winter to a summer blend, which means it'll cost even more.
As the components used in the summer blend are a little bit more sophisticated, more costly. So for $2 next week, in 2 weeks, we get $2.10 if nothing else changes.
After Porter's fuel surcharge, Dan McTagg expects other Canadian carriers to follow suit. He says the best time to book your summer vacation was 2 months ago. And if you didn't,
staying at home or hitchhiking seems to be the best option as we head into summer 2026.
Your best travel advice might be to get a new pair of shoes. Kelly Gregg, CTV News.
Montreal police have suspended the search for the teenager who fell through the ice on Rivière-des-Prairies Thursday. A police spokesperson told CTV News authorities might carry out additional checks in the coming days. On Saturday, the police marine unit conducted river checks while divers searched an area where the current could have carried the 18-year-old man. He and a 17-year-old fell through the ice this past Thursday. The 17-year-old was pulled from the river and taken to hospital. His life is not in danger. Police are investigating a stabbing in Montreal North Saturday night. Police say a 56-year-old man was injured with a sharp object at a residence on Chartrand Street near Léger Boulevard. Both the man and a 30-year-old woman were arrested. Police also investigating a vehicle fire in RDP. Police were called to the scene on Thomas Payne near Olivier Lejeune Street just before 4 a.m. Firefighters told investigators that a car window appeared to have been smashed and that the fire originated inside the passenger compartment. No one was injured and the vehicle was heavily damaged. April is just a few days away, but don't put away your jacket just yet. Montreal may be in for at least 10 more days of winter conditions. Here's Sweeta Rassi.
It's the sound of spring, which officially arrived 9 days ago. But in Montreal, it's hard to believe. And for some, patience is running out.
Actually, I'm a little bit fed up with the winter. It's taking too much time.
If it feels like a never-ending winter, you're not imagining it. It's been colder and snowier than usual, says David Phillips, a climatologist with Environment Canada.
The worst period has been the last 10 days since spring arrived. My gosh, it hasn't warmed up at all in Montreal.
And for tourists, the weather may have left a lasting impression.
We will come back to Canada, but definitely not in March.
Many are bundled up.
Well, just gloves and fleeces. Layers, yes.
According to Environment Canada, temperatures could rise to 14 degrees Celsius on Monday, but Phillips says that's just a tease.
It's just like a one-day wonder because the next day, 2 days, we're going to see temperatures down to like 3 or 4 degrees for a high.
He says the warm air is making its way up north, so Montrealers should expect spring weather in the next 10 days.
It's been a pretty long winter, and we can't wait to get our
sun back.
Yeah.
It's always so cold, and I can't wait to put my spring clothes and everything.
But don't take out the spring coats just yet. There's also a chance it will snow again. Philip says in the last 70 years, Montreal only had one April where it didn't snow at all.
But when that white stuff falls from the air, it's not cherry blossoms, it's snow.
Summer can't come soon enough. Sweeta Rassi, CTV News.
It's been 10 years since broadcaster and former politician Jean Lapierre died. Lapierre, his wife, and 3 of his siblings, as well as the 2 pilots on their private plane, were killed when it crashed in Les Îles de la Madeleine. Lapierre was 59 when he died. He was a lawyer, politician, a cabinet minister, and then a television and radio commentator. He was known to many here on CTV and on CJAD for his witty analysis and inside scoops. He provided analysis in English and in French on TVA. Longtime friend and colleague, TVA anchor Paul Larocque says Lapierre left a void.
His style, but his impact in politics for French viewers at LCN, and the same in the English community, you know. The day after his death, Mutsumi Takahashi and Andrew Carter came at LCN to talk about Jean, explaining to us how Jean was as popular in the English community that in the Quebec francophone, you know. And I remember Andrew Carter told me that he was kind of a rock star when he was appearing in public in the West Island, I don't know where. I've learned that. You know, and Jean was quite a bridge between us, saying the same thing in English, and a bridge between English and the French community in Quebec.
Larocque said he thinks Lapierre would be especially proud of his 2 children, his daughter, Marianne, who is a broadcaster, and his son, Jean-Michel, a successful lawyer.
Weather brought to you by Gratian Scaff. Second pair is a gift event including designer frames. A second pair free for a limited time.
Let's take a look at your forecast. It is currently 6 degrees in the city, a bit colder elsewhere, 2 degrees in Sherbrooke and 2 degrees in Quebec City. We are expecting a warm day tomorrow, a high of 12 degrees by mid-afternoon, but it is going to be cloudy. We won't have much sun throughout the week, but at least we'll have warmer temps compared to what we've been seeing. Highs are above 0 all week with rain and snow off and on until next weekend. Coming up, he's spent decades helping people in the West Island, and now Kim Reed from On Rock Food Bank has decided to retire. For more than 3 decades, he's been helping those in need on the West Island. You've probably seen him on air before. Kim Reed from On Rock Community Services in Pierrefonds. It's been about a month now that he's retired, and he joins us now. Hi there, Kim.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm great, thank you. Thanks for doing this today. First off, congratulations for your retirement.
Thank you very much.
Of course. Talk to me about what went into this decision.
Let's start with the fact that I'm 67. So I was just getting to that point where it was time for me to look at the next phase. My daughter, who was running our thrift store for, I think she was doing it for 3 years at the time, came to me and said, "Dad, I want to be more involved than just the thrift store." And I asked her, "Well, what is it you're looking to do?" And she said, "I want to run this place." So I was like, okay, let's explore that. And from that point on, she started to take on a few more responsibilities, and just to see how she would fit in, and was she capable? And it turns out she is much more than capable. She's doing a fantastic job. I had a medical issue as well that I'm still working through, which took me away from work a little more than I would like it to. So it just seemed like the time was right. She was ready. We had a board of directors. We have a board of directors that's incredible, and they're going to be a great support for her. So we decided to pull the plug March 1st.
You developed On Rock Food Bank over decades. How much hard work went into that?
A lot of work, long hours, mainly 6 days a week. But it was also a work of love and of just fulfillment. It's we fell upon the food bank because a lady came to us and asked us if we could help her out. She was an old lady who was she was 86 at the time, and she didn't tell us, but she was looking to phase out and hand it off, which we didn't know at the time. And by the time she disappeared and stopped coming, I looked at my coworker and I said, I think we run a food bank now. And at the time we had a drop-in center for teenagers, and the food bank just started to take off. So we had to look at that situation and say, okay, do we continue doing stuff with kids, or do we take on this food bank thing? And there were many organizations in the community who were already helping with kids, and there were very few people doing food bank. So we decided to jump in on the food bank and to move in that direction. And not long after that, COVID hit, and it just exploded.
Yeah, and now you're helping 300 families a week in Pierrefonds in the West Island, if I'm not mistaken. You mentioned earlier your daughter Kayla is taking over. Where do you think On Rock goes from here, and can we expect any changes?
That's a good question. We have just, in the past, I guess a year ago, we started our grocery store where our clients come in and shop for their food rather than just be handed a box. And that was a big undertaking because it was a total renovation, creating a grocery store and getting all the equipment and everything that goes with that and the staffing. So we just came off of that about a year ago. When we started to push more towards my retirement. So the next phase of growth and of dreaming which direction to go in, that's going to be up to Kayla and her staff.
Kim Reed, happy retirement. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you.
Time now for In Case You Missed It. Montreal is changing how it helps businesses affected by construction. But some owners say even with changes, relief isn't guaranteed. Here's the Hospital du Breuil.
Lunch hour once meant a full house here on Stanley Street.
Our sales have just gotten worse and worse and worse.
Brigade Pizzeria co-owner Jean-Daniel Nadeau has watched his restaurant slowly empty out. He says the pandemic, followed by years of downtown construction, especially along St. Catherine West, have taken a major toll. Before that, he says business was steady every day. Now sales are down 60%, but expenses haven't budged.
The taxes are still at 100%, the Hydro-Quebec is still 100%, everything is still 100%. And we, in this economy, we cannot raise our price just, to fulfill the gap. It doesn't make sense.
The mayor says her administration is listening. City Hall is promising faster, simpler financial aid for businesses hit by major construction. The new program merges two systems with $5,000 up front and up to $40,000 total. The eligibility window is now 3 months of continuous work with applications online and payments expected to come faster. The city says this is also about reviving Montreal.
We have to make sure that we're keeping our local merchants and their vitality in downtown core.
More businesses now qualify, with over 20 commercial zones being expanded. City Councillor Leslie Roberts says the old system left too many out, including on Stanley Street, where only one side qualified before.
What we did was just change the zoning so that both sides now have the eligibility.
Meaning Brigade Pizzeria is now included. But even with promises of a system that's broader, simpler, and faster, Nadeau says there's still a big unknown.
Are we going to get $500, $20, $0, or $440,000? I have no idea. And that's the biggest issue. We don't know if we're really going to go and get help.
After 12 years in business, he's hoping to stay open for many more, just without the constant disruption outside his door.
Downtown needs love. It really needs love.
Laurence Brisson-Dubreuil, CTV News.
One of rock and roll's most boisterous and theatrical singers, Meat Loaf, died 4 years ago. But his biggest record continues to live as a stage musical that will hit Montreal in early April, and it features a very talented Canadian. Stéphane Giroux has the story.
There was a time in the late 1970s when singer Meat Loaf was everywhere, from movie screens to the top of the charts, with one of the decade's best-selling albums, Bat Out of Hell.
I mean, everything about his music, his songs with Jim Steinman, the drama, the lyrics, the character, the real life Meat Loaf, everything screams drama.
3 decades later, Meat Loaf's album was turned into a musical that was staged in the UK. Now the production is going on the road across Canada, with French-Canadian Travis Cormier starring in a role of Strat, a gang leader.
Strat's a character that I'm very, very passionate about. It's based off Peter Pan. It's a rebel kid, leader of a gang. He's frozen at 18 forever, and he's a very interesting guy. He's intense, he's rock and roll.
Cormier is an Acadian born in Moncton, New Brunswick. He was a finalist in the 2016 edition of The Voice and has since become a regular in various stage productions in Las Vegas. He discovered his future role as a teen.
I remember my parents had the vinyl, and I remember sitting on the floor in my basement and listening to the vinyl from beginning to end. And I remember the emotion that I felt listening to those songs.
The songs from Bat Out of Hell were composed by the late Jim Steinman, who teamed up with Meat Loaf, who passed away in 2022. It's a unique blend which Cormier feels he can handle.
I mean, Meat Loaf's voice is just incredible, and not just technique, but you really feel every emotion of everything he sings. So obviously there is a bit of the bar is so high, can I do this?
Rock and music fans are likely to find the perfect blend in this stage production, says Burnett.
I always thought Meat Loaf screams opera. And I kind of feel that his music lends itself beautifully to musicals and to the art form that is opera.
The show will be presented in Toronto on April 3rd, at Montreal's Place des Arts on April 5th, and in London on April 7th. Stéphane Giroux, CTV News.
After the break, the Habs were back on the ice tonight and looking to make it 5 wins in a row. Highlights coming up.
Menswear provided by Ernest. Elevate your style with Ernest. Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
Increasing number of abandoned buildings.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. CTVMontreal.ca. Your home for news. For breaking news and local news that matters to you, download the CTV News app right now by scanning the QR code on your screen using your smartphone. Or you can also go to our website, ctvnewsmontreal.ca.
The Habs were back in action, facing off against the Carolina Hurricanes. Carolina jumped out to a first period lead with a power play goal. The Habs would go on to dominate the second period. Nick Suzuki would score 2 goals, and in between those goals, Cole Caulfield scored his 46th of the season. It was 3-1 Habs at the end of the second. The last period was scoreless, and the Canadiens win it 3-1, their 5th consecutive victory. That's it for us tonight. For the latest news, listen to the Andrew Carter Morning Show tomorrow at 5 on CJAD 800. You can always head to our website, ctvnewsmontreal.ca. Have a great night and a wonderful start to your week.